Parappa the Rapper 2 is a rhythm game developed by Nana Onsha and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 2 and released in 2001. It's the sequel to the very popular Parappa the Rapper and Jammer Lammy on PS1, had a ton of different merch products, and also had an anime that ran from 2001 to 2002. As a fan of many different rhythm games, with Parappa the Rapper being the reason for my love of the genre, when the second game came out, I was ecstatic. After finishing it, I was a bit perplexed about how different and uncharismatic it was compared to the first game. After revisiting it recently, I'm able to appreciate it more on a different level of understanding, but I can also see the flaws more too.
Come on, Parappa, relax. It's practice time.
A lot of the many hijinks in the Parappaverse usually involve problems where the main characters feel useless, ashamed, or discouraged. By believing in themselves and with the help of friends, the problems get solved and they can go on enjoying the rest of their day. All of the characters are cute 2D animals, wildlife, or just funky looking creatures. A cake shop is in the shape of a cake, a burger shop is in the shape of a burger, and a flower lives in a lemon-shaped house. The world is colorful and has a hip-hop groove with how everything operates. The world of Parappa, whether it's through a video game or a TV show, is very innovative, imaginative, and just downright fun to be in.
Come on now, we ain't got all day. Come on now, we ain't got all. Come on the rails, or just on the trails. On the rails, or just on the trails. Crave the speed and let your body go. Crave the speed and let your body go.
The first Parappa game really kicked off the PlayStation 1's sales with a super simple and entertaining rhythm game that has some catchy tunes that has been engraved into my DNA. My mom and I still sing the songs from the game, and it's as if we were back sitting on the couch and playing it side by side all those years ago. Jammer Lammy introduced new characters with a new rock cake that really brought more flavor to the world. You can unlock Parappa in Jammer Lammy, and he raps with the teacher characters, but I always found it sounded a bit off since the intended purpose of the songs were more rock-based due to Lammy playing a guitar. Parappa the Rapper 2 was the true return of the rapping pup, but I was a bit hesitant to fully replace it with the first game. Parappa the Rapper 2 is louder and more in your face when it comes to its style and zaniness. Parappa won a lifetime of noodles and loved it at first, eating noodles in different fashions every day with his friends, but then grew tired of it. After he starts complaining about his wet, stringy food, his crush, Sunny, calls him a baby, in which he starts to question his maturity. Him and his friend then focus on getting something else to eat. They go to the nearest burger shop in town and find out that not only is all the food turning into noodles, but just about everything, including hair, is turning noodly as well. Parappa takes this opportunity to prove to himself that he is mature and sets out to solve the problem.
I know! I got it! No! I can't believe.
Parappa, I didn't know you were such a baby.
Simply put, gameplay consists of pressing the correct button when your character's icon runs over it at the top of the screen. In each level, Parappa will be paired with a teacher character who he will be rapping with. This character will rap a couple of words or phrases, and at the top of the screen is a line with her character icon running across the line to the rhythm of the song. On the line are different buttons that can be pushed, like circle or R1. When the icon goes over the button, that is when the button needs to be pushed. After the teacher character's icon reaches the end of the line, it is your turn to play and push the corresponding buttons that were laid out on the teacher's line. Failing to push the buttons, or pushing the incorrect buttons, lowers your score and your rating. When your rating lowers, the song and beat changes a little bit to reflect how bad you are doing, and can really have an influence on your focus to do better, to get a better rhythm and pass the level.
At the same point of view, meet me at the corner, pick you up a 7, wear your best dress and I'll take you to heaven. Yes, hi.
Your goal is to maintain a good rating and pass the level. If you fall below a bad rating, then you will have to start over. Earning a cool rating will prove to the teacher that you are good enough to rap on your own, and you can freestyle some different phrases from the level, and combining them in a repeated and metrical way, you can maintain your cool status to the end of the song and get a different ending to the level. Getting a cool rating can be hard at times because you really have to feel the rhythm of these raps and press buttons out of order in different ways to find a combination that is acceptable or possibly sounding good. But that's the fun of it. The wacky comedy and cartoonish characters bring a ludicrous vibe to the game through their dialogue and their actions in the background during songs, and just feeling the groove of the songs and atmosphere, whether you win or lose, is just a fun time.
What's going on? What's going on? You're really dead. S-O-S-S-S. Please time with care. So you weren't dead. I must have been dreaming. I think I'm big. I think I'm big, kid.
Parappa the Rapper 2 has new features from past games, such as a bonus game in between levels, more levels, and an interesting unlocking system of extra content with the use of different colored hats, and a multiplayer game that is simple but incredibly fun to just mess around in with someone. The intro of the game is amazing, unforgettable, and shows who Parappa is as a character perfectly. Scene transitions are energetic and stylish. The end of the game is such a great culmination for the ultimate end of the franchise, with Parappa rap battling and riffing off of the teacher character instead of copying them, and then goes off and freestyles by himself without the approval of the teacher to get a cool rating. Parappa raps at the end and the crowd copies him instead of Parappa having to copy someone else. It really shows how much Parappa has grown and his gain of confidence.
Say alright. Say oh yeah. What you gonna do? I gotta believe.
So why didn't I care for this game when I was 12 years old? The plot of the original game was all about Parappa trying to get the attention of his love interest by proving how mature he is. He takes karate lessons so he can protect her from bullies. He goes and gets his driving license so he can drive her around. He tries to be cool by driving his dad's car and ends up crashing and totaling it, so he has to go to a flea market to sell stuff to get money to fix it. He doesn't have enough money to get her a fancy cake, so he learns how to bake her one from scratch. He triumphs through his problems by believing in himself and learns his strengths and weaknesses and the importance of just being yourself through lessons from his teachers.
So yes, open up, you know. It's all yours. Ah, this is life.
It feels redundant that Parappa has to go through such similar hardships in the second game, and the story and levels aren't as practical, sensible, or related to the actual happenings of the plot points as you would like. 1 second you are rapping with the burger shop owner's ghost, then you get shrunk by a shrinking ray and are rapping with a bug, then you are cutting hair. The entire story of everything turning into noodles is silly, which matches the tone of Parappa overall, but it's silly to the point of being foolish and fruitless. Characters and plot points are shoehorned into the mix just to have particular levels in the game, but those levels don't bring anything substantial to the table to begin with. Again, I want to reiterate that the absurdity and wild antics that transpire totally fit this type of adventure in the world of Parappa, but the retreading of themes and the entire story overall feels incredibly pointless. It seems as if this big return to the Parappa world is just a side story.
This is great fun!
Yeah, definitely not for kids.
I get it.
The first Parappa game has the advantage of being a new game in the genre on the groundbreaking PS1. With it being a centerpiece of gaming history, and even after taking the nostalgia glasses off, The game is memorable and stands on its own with its catchy music and unforgettable characters. Parappa the Rapper 2 can't really stand on its own like the original can. It almost feels like an afterthought. So while Parappa the Rapper 2 is still a good game, the elements that make it what it is are done better in the first adventure. I would almost consider Jammer Lammy more of a proper sequel before Parappa the Rapper 2.
Next, please.
Water.
Here it is.
Unfortunately, we never really got to see Parappa and the gang on any other musical adventures, although Parappa did pop up in PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. The creators of Parappa the Rapper and Gitaru Man had a game in the works called Project Rap Rabbit back in 2017 that looked promising and acted as a true successor of Parappa that would have revolutionized the rhythm game genre. But with the Kickstarter starting on the precipice of video game Kickstarter backlash of failed and abandoned projects, as well as this type of rhythm game simply not being on anyone's radar at the time, Project Rap Rabbit never could secure enough through crowdfunding. The first Parappa the Rapper game got a remaster in 2017 for PS4, but the button prompts don't work properly. It always feels like you're offbeat, so I think the failure of that sort of diminished any chance of Parappa coming back soon. With Beat Saber and other rhythm games coming back into the light, as well as remakes and reimaginings of older titles getting popular, I would love to see Parappa, or this type of rhythm game, come back in full force.
特に最近の、RPG とかに、インスパイアされたその、エモーションフィールというかダイアログというか、どういった感情だったりとか、どういったエモーションを表現したいかっていうことを、ユーザーに考えてもらいながら、ラップバトルという形。
Parappa the Rapper 2 isn't the sequel you may want it to be, but it is an entertaining musical adventure with merits that make a playthrough worthwhile. The haphazardness of the story sort of destroys the purpose of the game, but it also serves as the reason to even check the game out in the first place. Some cool cameos of characters from Jammer Lammy are cute, and the totally unique and funky style is addicting. There are small nuggets of perfection with sweet transitions and funny phrases within some songs that may stick with you. Although the game has a perfect intro, and I can appreciate what the game is trying to do with its silliness now that I am older, the game falls flat all in all, with forgettable tracks and needless plot points. Parappa the Rapper 2 is still a fun entry in the franchise, and I can only hope that someday Parappa will be able to come back better than ever. I give Parappa the Rapper 2 a 6.5 out of 10.